Welcome to Powercoat Music. Today we're going to talk about the Tascam DP24 digital Portastudio and recording electronic drums and drum machines. Many drum machines today are filled with professional samples and effects, along with a built-in sequencer recorder. It's easy to record and program drum tracks to a machine, mix them, and then send the audio outputs to the inputs of your Tascam DP24 for recording tracks. With this, drum machine tracks can be a red flag in a production where certain aspects in this area are neglected because it's so easy. However, it doesn't have to be this way if one is willing to spend a little extra time and attention engineering these often neglected tracks. Depending upon the version or model of DP that you have, the processes that I will be suggesting for recording drum machine, tracks will be different. So this is because the first release of the DP Portastudio series had MIDI and the current SD version does not. My processes involve establishing and maintaining independent control over aspects of your drum tracks such as the snare, bass drum, toms, hi-hats, cymbals, etc. during both recording and mixdown. This is so we can better ensure that they sound dynamic and realistic in the mix, not flat and lifeless. I will cover this topic for both version 1, the MIDI model, and the SD versions that don't have MIDI. So watch the entire video to catch it all. Let's start with the DP version 1 model. This model has MIDI, so we can sync drum machines with this unit. This means we don't need to record the drum tracks to the DP24 at all. This is a distinct difference. The first thing we need to do is sync the drum machine to the DP24 via a MIDI cable. So connect a MIDI cable from the MIDI out jack of the DP24 to the MIDI in jack of the drum machine. Set the drum machine as the MIDI slave. Refer to your drum machine manual for instructions on how to do this. Now, on your DP24, push the menu button. The menu screen appears. Use the cursor button or the jog data dial to navigate to the MIDI menu item and then push the F4 button. The MIDI screen appears. Use the cursor button to navigate down to the MMC section and the mode parameter. Use the jog data dial to select the master setting. Use the cursor button then to navigate down to the device ID parameter. Use the jog data dial to select the all setting. Use the cursor button to navigate down to the sync section and the generator parameter. Use the jog data dial to select either the clock or MTC setting. Now check the manual on your drum machine to determine whether it accepts MIDI clock or MTC timecode in order to get this correct. Press the play button on the DP24. The drum machine should now start in sync with the unit. After the drum machine is synced to the DP24, record your drum tracks to the sequencer recorder on the drum machine. Now when you push the play button on the DP24, the drum tracks will play on the drum machine. Now let's talk about mixing down drum machine sounds with recorded tracks on the DP24. First, connect the stereo outputs of the drum machine to two of the DP24 A through H input jacks on the back of the unit. For example, use inputs A and B. On the DP24, push the Assign button. The Assign screen appears. Use the cursor buttons to navigate to the stereo bus section and the A input. Use the jog data dial to activate the A input. The A input should turn a light yellow color to show that it is active. Navigate to the B input and do the same. The source buttons for both inputs, A and B, are now lit to show they are active. Adjust the A and B trim controls, stereo fader, and the monitor level knob to hear the drum machine playing on the DP24 through the headphones. Adjust the volume controls along with any other features and functionalities on the drum machine to manage that sound source in your mixdown. Let's move on to using dynamic effects. When you press the Dynamics button, the effect inserted into the last selected input, whether it's A through H, is then displayed. You can select one of the 4 types of effects, which are compressor, noise suppressor, de-esser or de-esser, and exciter. You can apply the effect to all inputs, A through H. However, you can't use multiple types of effects simultaneously. Let's look at how to insert a dynamic effect. Press the Dynamics button. Now press the Source button to select the input, that is A through H, where you want to insert the effect. Press the F3 button to select the effect to insert. Press the F4 button to set the selected effect to on and insert it. Now you can add compression to your external drum tracks for more power and impact during mixdown. Here's a point of note. You can activate as many inputs, that is A through H, that you want during mixdown to use additional MIDI synchronized devices. The DP24 gives you 24 recorded tracks and another 8 inputs on the rear of the unit to accomplish this. Lastly, if you're not using any of those inputs, ensure that they are deactivated during mixdown to avoid any excess noise. Let's move on and talk about how to apply my process to the digital Portastudio SD model. This model does not have MIDI, so we need to use more than 4 tracks on the unit to independently control the drum machine tracks. Now here's the point of note. If you would like to use MIDI with the digital Portastudio SD model, this is possible. For details on how to do this, watch my video, Tascam DP24/DP32 Digital Portastudio, Sync to MIDI, no hardware required, on this channel. For your drum machine, if it has 4 audio outputs, which most of them do today, then connect them to 4 of the DP24 inputs on the back of the unit, which are A through H. Now, for example, use inputs A, B, C, and D. Let's talk about drum machine routing. For example, this area is flexible, and routing means what sounds you're going to send to the 4 outputs we just talked about on your drum machine. For example, we're going to use the output 1 for the snare and the toms, route the bass drum to output 2, route the hi-hats to output 3, and then route all the cymbals to output 4. Now on the DP24, assign inputs A, B, C, and D to the 4 tracks that you want to record those drum tracks on. For example, you can assign them to tracks 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's look at how to assign mono tracks. Tracks 1 through 12 on the DP24 are all mono tracks. When the recorder is stopped, press the Assign button to open the Assign screen. Use the Select button of each track or the cursor buttons to move the cursor to the mono track you want to assign a recording source. Press the Source button of the desired input, that is inputs A through H, or turn the jog data dial to set the input source of each mono track. After assigning all tracks, press the Assign button or the Home button to return to the home screen. Let's look at recording the drum machine tracks. On your drum machine, disable all effects on the drum machine patch that you want to use to record on the DP24. This means you're going to record your drum machine tracks dry. We're talking Sahara Desert. Reference your drum machine manual for instructions on how to do this. You can add effects later during mixdown. Press the Home button to return to the home screen. Press the Rec or Record buttons for tracks 1, 2, 3, and 4. The Rec indicator blinks for all tracks and the unit enters record standby mode. To set the recording levels on the DP24, record or play a test demo on your drum machine using all of the drum kit components. While the drum machine is playing, use the trim knobs for the inputs A, B, C, and D to adjust all input levels accordingly. Set the trim knobs so that the OL indicator for inputs A, B, C, and D do not light even when the loudest sounds are input. When you raise the faders for tracks 1, 2, 3, and 4, along with the stereo fader and the monitor level knob, you can hear the sound of the drum machine playing through the headphones. Now here's a point of note. If the OL indicator continues to light even when the trim knob is turned all the way down, the drum machine signals too loud. In this case, lower the volume on the drum machine. To record your drum tracks, first ensure that you are at the beginning of the song. Press the Record button to start recording. Now play your electronic drum kit or start your pre-recorded sequence on your drum machine. The Record button lights red and the REC or record indicator for tracks 1, 2, 3, and 4 stops flashing and lights steadily. After your performance is finished, press the Stop button to stop the recording. The recorded file is saved in the folder of the currently loaded song. Press the REC or Record buttons for tracks 1, 2, 3, and 4 so that the Rec button becomes unlit. During playback of the song, use the faders for tracks 1, 2, 3, and 4, related pan knobs, stereo fader, and monitor level knob to adjust the monitoring levels and balance of the 4 drum tracks. Now, this gives you independent control of the snare and toms, bass drum, hi-hats, and cymbals for volume, effects, and more. You can also group the drum tracks using the fader group button if desired. Now, record the rest of the tracks for your song, but don't add effects to the drum tracks yet. When you start the final mixdown for your song, be sure to wait and add the effects for the drum tracks last. When you do, experiment with the compression to add power and punch to your drum tracks. Add reverb and delay as needed. Be careful here. Now, a general guideline to follow is the faster the song, the less reverb and delay. The slower the song, the more reverb and delay. Again, listen and play with this to get clear, lively, and driving drums. Since drums have many components, you should always exercise as much control over them as possible. If not, this oversight can greatly restrict your mix and compromise a driving and primary part of your music. Well, that's a wrap. If you like this video, give it the thumbs up and click the subscribe button on your screen now to join our group. We have new videos coming out every 7 to 10 days and we would love to have you be a part of our team. Also, leave a comment in the comment section below and let us know what you think about this video. Also, while you're here at the channel, check out some of the other videos, listen to the music, check out the playlist, and let us know what you think about that too. Last but not least, check us out on Facebook and Instagram as well. Thank you so much for stopping by. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you soon.